Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be talking about a brand that has been in quite a few scandals. Now, mind you, most fast fashion brands these days have been in scandals, don't have ethical business practices. There's a lot of problems with them. So Fashion Nova is by no means the only brand who has been in trouble because of some of their choices. That being said, the reason that I want to speak about Fashion Nova specifically is because I don't think I've ever seen another fast fashion brand have so many partners or influencers that they're paying to essentially post their clothes. Pretty much I feel like 90% of my timeline most of the time is an influencer who's being paid by Fashion Nova to post pictures wearing their clothing. As much as other brands do that as well, I don't think I've seen many do it on the same scale as Fashion Nova, and we're going to get into why that even matters. Before we get into that though, I did want to thank today's sponsor, which is NordVPN. A VPN is a virtual private network, and that means you create a secure connection online. Using NordVPN means that I get to browse the internet safely, as NordVPN has military-grade encryption as well as an automatic kill switch. If you go to nordvpn.com/readytoglare and use code readytoglare, you can get 68% off a 2-year plan, which would total to $3.71 a month for 24 months. And when using my code, you get an extra month for free. While NordVPN is securing your online safety, it's also useful to have for fun things like access to streaming sites that may not be available in your country, or to check out the catalogs other countries offer. Again, remember to go to nordvpn.com/readytoglare to get 68% off a 2-year plan. And when using my code, you get an extra month for free. Thank you, NordVPN, for sponsoring this video. Fashion Nova. Now, if you guys have been following me for a while, you'll know that I used to buy from there prior to finding out about their business practices. And one thing I want to make clear too is when we have a conversation about sustainability and, buying clothes that are eco-friendly and so on and so forth, it's important to note that sustainability is in its own way a privilege in the sense of not everyone can afford to buy, for example, a more expensive thing that is environmentally friendly, because being realistic, sustainable things typically are more expensive. So I don't think it's good to shame people for buying from fast fashion, because if that's what you can afford, that's what you can afford and that's it. But if you can avoid it and you want to make the effort to, I also think that's a healthy thing to do. I just think the discussion around it is often very black and white, when the reality is there's just a lot of factors that go into why certain people can't buy sustainable things. But anyway, that aside, that's not what this conversation is about. Fashion Nova, the first scandal I heard of from them was when they were criminally underpaying their workers. So there's an article from the New York Post. This article, I'll link it down below, but it essentially underlines the fact that workers were underpaid and that the factories were in terrible conditions. So it says, while Fashion Nova does not work with factories directly, its clothes have been made in sweatshops that paid sewers as little as $2.77 an hour and owed workers $3.8 million back in wages, the paper reported, citing federal documents and other sources. $2.77 an hour. So the reason that I was bringing up that they pay influencers to post, and I see it like on a very big scale, I feel like every day on Instagram I see someone that's like hashtag Fashion Nova partner or whatever their hashtag is. And the reason why I stopped buying there is because, first of all, you should never be underpaying your workers, duh. But I find it doubly, if not triply, insidious that you are paying influencers thousands upon thousands of dollars to pose in your clothes, but you can't actually appropriately pay the people making those clothes. And like I said, they should have been paid appropriately anyway, but it's mind-boggling to me that you're gonna pay someone to just take a picture in it, but you're not gonna pay the person making it an appropriate wage. So that was one of the main things that really did not sit well with me for Fashion Nova. One thing I will say, as someone who has bought from there in the past, though I don't anymore, their clothes are extremely, extremely hit or miss. And they've done a lot of collections with like celebrities. Like I know they've done one with Cardi B, I believe. Their clothes will be expensive for what they are realistically. So even when people say that Fashion Nova is affordable, it's not the most expensive brand in the universe, of course, but at the same time, it's expensive for what you're getting. It's extremely hit or miss. A lot of their products just were terrible quality. I remember there was this one time I bought a bodysuit and it was the right size. The moment I put it on, a button just like ripped off. I was being careful. Like I wasn't just like trying to rip it, but it just like ripped immediately. So even the prices that you're paying, I don't think are fair considering the quality. But anyway, so then in terms of even just like the biohazard aspect or the hygienic safety, let's say, there's a woman named Mercedes Cortez who told the Times that she earned $270 a week on average making Fashion Nova clothes in a factory near the brand's offices in California. She was reportedly paid a few cents for each piece of a shirt she sewed at the factory, which she left in 2016. Then she said, there were cockroaches, there were rats, the conditions weren't good. So aside from the fact, again, that employees deserve to be in a clean and safe area when they're doing their jobs, and aside from needing to be paid appropriately, obviously, it seems incredibly, again, insidious that clothes are being made in these types of unhygienic places. You're not even paying your workers appropriately, but then you're going to turn around and pay influencers God knows how much to take pictures with your clothes. You know what I mean? So it continues returning to this kind of thing of like, where are your priorities here? Recently, they got into another controversy involving their children's clothing line. Their children's clothing line is uncanny to look at for the simple reason that it's like they're dressing kids the same way they would dress adults. It's just alarming to look at because it doesn't make sense, because your brain is like computing, yes, this is a child, but then you're looking at the outfit and it's like, why are they wearing something like an 18-year-old would wear? So let's look at some examples. So if you look at these pictures, they really just do look like shrunken adults. You know, they're not really dressed as kids. And I think a big part that people also were underlining on the internet, because there was a tweet that I'm pretty sure went viral with this, is that a lot of these aren't realistic for kids, aside from being inappropriate, but they're unrealistic because kids move around a lot, they get things dirty. So it's like you need something that's comfortable, but that's also, you know, not something that is a high maintenance thing to wear. So here's an example. This young girl seems to be wearing a sort of crop top corsety looking type thing. Aside from the fact that I don't really think a child should be wearing that, but whatever. Aside from that fact, it's like, this isn't child friendly in the sense of when they're playing, when they're doing things, this isn't going to be comfortable for them. This could come off, this could slide down. Like, there's so many things that just don't compute as to why you would make a child wear that. On top of that, a lot of the pictures are taken in, again, adult-like poses, which, I mean, like, this isn't the worst we've seen on the internet for sure, but again, it's like, these are children. They should be wearing things that, yes, are cute, but at the same time, that are child appropriate. And another thing that also came up is that the children were like wearing heels, and these kids, I'm terrible at aging kids, like I can't tell the difference between a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old most of the time. They're wearing heels, and it's like, what is the reason? Like, why are we doing this? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. And some of the names as well were strange. Like, I think there was one called On the Down Low, and just names that you're like, this doesn't really seem like it's for children. And again, I don't even think Fashion Nova is the right brand to be making children's clothing, period, because realistically, if anyone knows Fashion Nova, most of the time they're going to associate it with online influencers / e-girls, and there's nothing wrong with being those things, but at the same time, it's just, I would never think, oh, Fashion Nova, let me get a child clothing from there. It makes no sense. Also because Fashion Nova is known to have pretty risque clothing for adults as well. Of course, they have subdued things, but they have clothing that's very revealing, so I wouldn't necessarily associate a place that has very revealing clothing with a place that you'd buy clothing for children. There was a bit of a debate on Twitter about whether the children's clothing was that inappropriate. Some people are making the argument that the people who think this clothing on kids is weird are the people sexualizing them, which I can understand why someone would think that, but at the same time, it's also like, is there really a reason for really young children to be wearing heels? Is there really a reason that they need to be posed with their ass towards the screen as opposed to just like a normal child model who usually they look pretty playful or, you know, pure, innocent? There are just too many things that don't really sit all that well with me. And again, considering what we know about them, apparently now they have been working with the Department of Labor to rectify their wrongdoings. Personally, do I think they're still underpaying? Do I still think they're probably using sweatshops? Obviously, yes, that goes for a lot of fast fashion brands though, like I said. But I feel like Fashion Nova is so much in the public eye and so visible all the time via my timeline on Instagram mainly, that I feel like they're the ones that kind of exemplify all the problems with fast fashion. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to my patrons as always. Let's get right into the fan art.